I'm going to go over the headlock series today, how I do it. And Matt has me in a headlock, right? So not under the arm, not Xequemate, but Xequemate. And first off, let's just talk about crazy fundamental right now. I don't want to be on the flat of my back. Now, for every rule in the world, in talking about jiu-jitsu or not, there's an exception to every rule. In general, and it's 99% of the time, I do not want to be on my back. In general, I want to be on as much on my side as I can. Okay? Now, this is how the position's taught. The position is taught as a headlock with the guy holding his own hands. It gets a little bit more. Advanced when he starts grabbing his own leg and using this hand to attack, but we still learn it the same way, and you still fight it the same way. Okay, so if this guy, the very first thing I want is always make a frame. That's number one. And you're gonna get confused about your frame a lot of times, especially if this arm's on the inside. You might think that this is the right frame because the only thing you remember is, oh yeah, forearm on the neck. And so I see this wrong a lot, okay? It's the back arm that comes across and under the chin. And you want to support a solid structure, so my hand should really go to the end of the whatever this bone's called. I don't really want to hold my hand, right? That's not a rigid object. So you really want to support your wrist, and that's the frame right there. Now, there's three things. I don't want to be flat on my back, I want to be framing properly, and I want to try to pivot my elbow to the ground. Now, I can't always get all three of those. Sometimes I can't even get two. But you want to get as many of those as you can. He typically has his knee closer to my head, right? That's a good setup for him. If it's me playing his position, I always want my foot as far even that way, like not that one, but that one. Right, the farther up that foot, the harder it makes me to take his head to the ground and roll him that way, right? So my first escape is gonna be, the first escape, I always wanna try to get my elbow to the ground. If I can't, I'm still gonna continue with it. If I fight to pivot my elbow out, but I can't, I'm gonna continue. And there's a couple details people miss. You wanna back away your feet and move your hips back. Like, now that created space. If you look at the space, he naturally wants to fall into the space that I created, right? When I'm up against him, there's nowhere for him to fall. So I want to back away, and then I don't just want to throw my leg up like this, right? I want my hips to come off the ground like this. So I threw my hips and my leg. I didn't just go like that, okay? So I made space to give him a hole to fall in, and I threw my legs up. Now, one of two things are gonna happen right now when I push, and this is all coming in one step. His hands are gonna separate or they're not. If they don't separate, then I just rock up like this. And then I block his knees, however you wanna do it. You can do like this or just block them both. Throw the leg over, pull it into his hip, bring your knee up, touch it to his head, and then you want to frame again. We're going to go ahead and add this in. This break right here, you don't want to push up like this, all right? If he's strong and I'm weak, he's a lot stronger than me, I'm just going to hurt my neck. What I do is I frame into his neck, I drive that way. I drive in line with his spine. And then I chase his arm down. I plant my hand either on his face or on the ground. I pivot on my knee, and I throw the leg around, right? And then if you can catch both hands inside, you take the armbar. Okay, so now the shorter variation. We're here. I don't want to be on my back. I want to try to get my elbow to the ground. In a perfect world, I have my hands inside, right? You don't always get perfect world. If my hand's on the outside, I gotta go with it. I gotta go with what I can get. If I don't get my elbow to the ground, I gotta go with it. Again, this position would be tighter if he was like that, right? Now, I back away and throw my hips in the air and just ride him up like that. Throw my leg over, pull my foot in, put my knee up behind his head, make my frame correctly, drive in the direction of his spine, post, pivot, take the arm bar. One more time. Always be on your side as early as possible. Make my frame. If my hand were inside, it'd be better because his arm causes a little bit of interference here. It's kind of bowing out my frame. In a perfect, and it's weaker. It's like it's there for him to attack. It's on the outside. He's already got his arm where he can push it down. And so, you know, in a perfect world, this is a perfect world right here, right? We don't always get that. But if you want to practice this way to remember, good. Try to get your elbow to the ground. Back your hips away. Throw your hips in the air. Ride them up. Come to your knees. Block his legs. Throw your foot over. Pull it in. Knee behind his head. Make your frame drive in line with his arm. Trap. Pivot. Arm bar. Let's try that, guys. Remember, you don't always have your arms inside, and if you want the best view, it's this front-facing view over here. In a perfect world, my arm's inside. There's no threat here. It's strong. He's not disrupting my frame. If I can get my elbow to the ground, great. There's a lot of things that go wrong. My arm ends up on the outside. He blocks my elbow. He stays tight to me. He starts grabbing my tricep, pulling up on it. Right, yeah, it can be, it's knowledge. If he knows what I need, it's very easy to take that away from me. But I'll continue with what I got. I'm on my side. I try to get my elbow to the ground as best I can. I get as much as my side as I can. Now, my goal is when I scoot back and I throw my hips in the air. My goal is to separate his hands and let my knees come to the top and bottom of his neck and just squeeze right here, okay? Leg scissors. Some people think that, you know, you're squeezing together. I don't squeeze my legs like this. If I just connect them at the ankles and try to extend my legs, just try to straighten them out as much as you can, like you're doing a leg extension, that's the strongest variation on his neck, okay? So if his arms separate, I go to the choke. So he was here, he scooted away, he threw his hips up, and he wanted to separate. And now, I see how I just step back also? Because I don't want to be like this. There's too much, well, not for me, but for some people there's a lot of meat, you know, close to your groin, right? That's not what I meant. It's not a problem for me, I can assure you. I want my knees on the top of on the top and bottom of his neck, right? I want the skinniest part of my leg, right? So if you have thick legs, you don't want to be close to him. You want your knees on the top and bottom. And again, grab your ankles together and leg press, okay? So one more time. Sorry about the accidental pun, wasn't intended. So here, get on your side, back away, come up, push away, back away to get my knees on the top and bottom of his neck, and then leg press. Let's try that one. That's the one you want. Also, let's say Matt leg scissors me. Just lay there and just lay right here and leg scissors me. All right, just a little detail. See this leg right here? He has it on top. You see what I mean by on top? The problem with that is if I'm really strong and I turn my head to the side, there's nothing locking. If he puts the other one up like this, look, even if I turn my head to the side, there's nothing I can do because I can't get his foot to go through his foot, right? So if I'm really strong, right, I get Sean in this, let's say. You don't know who Sean is, he's strong. And Sean would be able to, if this leg is on top, he'd be able to push this over. Right, like right now, like that. But like this, I'd have to push this leg through this ankle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I turn my head. I can't push this through that. That's a little bit good. That's a little bit hard to remember, but that's a little detail as well. So defensively, when I'm defending, I'm always trying to make space. If you're on bottom, you're trying to make space. We don't want to be tight on bottom. Not from mount, not from side control. From side control, think about it, make space. From Keisagatami, make space. Someone's mounted on you, make space. Same thing here. That's what this frame's about, making space. The problem is, now, if I could make my frame, I'm going those two routes. I'm going one of those two. And those two lead to a couple others we may come back to if we have time. But if he trapped my arm, and now he keeps his head low, I can't get my arm in, and it could be one of those two also. Maybe he didn't trap my arm. Maybe I've got this, but he's keeping his head low, and I can't get my arm in. Then I have to come here. I have to change the game. But my reminder for this is when he holds over my arm, or he grabs my arm right now, I'm not going to be able to separate. This arm's not strong enough, especially when he connects his head to me. So I'm off my back, but he's got this arm. So this hand's always going to come right here. This is my default in this position. Now the first thing I'm looking for is to hook this leg. And this is like a pry bar. I'm able to twist my arm out. He's holding his hands, hold your hands right. I'm able to twist my arm out using a series of jerks. And now I come back to my toes and I hip up right here. And there's a couple things we can do. Number one is I want to go to technical mount. So right now, because of his knees, see how his femur goes that way? It'd be hard to roll him over. So what I'm going to do is straighten his body out and roll him over. Right into technical mount, right into the arm bar. All right, so he's got me in a headlock, and he's doing one of two things or both things. He's over this arm, be over it, right? It's even worse for me. This is worse. And people who know how to play the headlock position, this is how they play it. But for learning, this is too much. He's got too many advantages. I'm just going to take one away. Hold your hands together. All right, this gives me a little bit of chance. All right, this is how we're going to practice. I don't want this guy holding the gi. You guys are just learning. Some of you guys. So grab here, pivot as best I can, hook the leg. Use this to get up on my shoulder. Put my hand out. Still holding his shoulder. I post my foot. I straighten him out and roll him right into technical mount. Drive, extend, post, pivot, trap both arms inside. One last time. So my first avenue was making space, but I don't have that option now. So this arm's trapped, I grab this shoulder, I hook, I pivot, I come up, I straighten them out, and I climb into technical mount, and I take the arm bar. All right, let's try that. He's staying tight right now. He knows the game. He's staying tight. Remember, you're just holding your hands together. I deal with people holding my arm, especially Alex, I still got the technique doesn't change. But we don't learn to play baseball in a tornado, right? Like we want the perfect, scenario right now. I hold here. I throw this over. I pull my shoulder out. He can't stop that. That's what this does. This is what allows me to get my shoulder out. Then I just take my toes back, and that's what allows me to get up to my knee. My knee went outward. It's not an inward angle. I've got no base. It comes to it comes to a post. Now, I want to get my hands, keep holding that headlock. Now, the whole purpose of the series, this guy, he's twice as strong as us, and he'll never let go of the headlock, ever. Now, either he's trained or he just knows. He keeps his knee up high. So if I try to straighten him out, he keeps his knee up high. So I can't roll him over, right? Because he won't let me straighten him out. Normally when you pull him this way, they straighten out. But he won't let me. So all I'm going to do now is change my post to this side. I'm going to throw this arm behind my back. It's kind of important. And I'm going to grab his wrist. And I'm just going to shoulder lock him. And I can break his arm. If you listen, you'll hear it break. Listen. So there's another option, which we're not going to do it separately. The other option would be to pull out my head and chicken wing it, right? but I like the hammer lock. So if you can't roll them into technical mount, which is a safer, more controlling thing to do, I can't roll them into it, so I'm just gonna post on this side. Now, remember, throw this arm behind you, grab his wrist, and your leg posted, and your shoulder going into his back, he can't hold on. And you just drop your shoulder right here and lift. Keep this hand connected to your chest. Now, I've seen people, out of the way for a second, I've seen people get here and forget to put their arm behind them. They leave it right here, and they don't realize why they can't break his arms. And you don't realize it, but your own arm is in danger of breaking. It doesn't go more back than this, right? So you hit the kickstand, and you're like, I can't raise it. You don't even think about it. You can't even figure out the answer. But when you throw this behind you, now you can lift as much as you want, right? That's why you want to put your arm behind your back. So one more time. We're here. That's not gonna happen. So, and just break his arm. All right, let's try that.
Yes, sir.
We're here. Oh, no, I can't. He's blocking it all. He's staying low. He's got my arm trapped. I always grab here. This is the position. Now, I want to hook his leg, but he balls up. All right, now the dynamics have changed. He's made a little ball. I'm going to show you the way I was taught, and then I'm going to show you the way some people teach it, all right? I was taught like this. He stays in this position. I go like this. And then we're right back up to here, okay? And for time reasons, I'm gonna tell you why it's not bad, okay? I used to be like, man, that's terrible. Because you're all probably thinking the same thing. All he had to do is post, right? So if he balls up, and I go like this,
step back.
no, you missed it. See? I come up, I'm gonna be in technical mount again. So, well, gonna ball up good, right?
Got him.
If he posts, right. So it's not bad. The only way he can block you is to post, and then he creates a race. He has to post, right? And then I get the hook. But actually, I had already beat him. He put that out late. Bring that knee back up. Yeah. And then we go back into the other one. But for learning's sake, don't block him. Because you ball up more, ball up. This guy balls up. You have to learn to throw your legs down and stop them. Right? Let's try that. Showing right now. Now, other people would do this. Could get to here and then push them over. Right? Now he balls up. He balls up. Now, I go like this, and you're like, well, he's just going to stop me. He's going to post out. Stop me. Kickstand out. All right. You're not going to get out. Kickstand out. Come back. If I get here and I hit a wall, like he really kickstands out there, all I have to do is put my head on the ground and hop over. No, keep the headlock. Keep the headlock. And pull him back to here. Right? Let's look at that again. We're not going to rep these. I'm just showing you. We're out of time. So, for either variation, it's okay, right? You get to here and you try to pull them over. Now, even if I hit the wall, I can kind of change that angle. If I can get to my knees, I'm good. But sometimes when I hit that wall,
Bless you.
yes, right, I can just go like this as well. Hop over here, keep the headlock, and roll him back to here. If, let's say I do this, or the other one, right, where you can go back and forth. I go, and I do this, and he blocks me. And then I go here, and he brings it back. So let me get it right. So block me and bring it back. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm gonna get out. So, boom. And I missed it. This can go on and on. I'm stuck. So there's two things that can happen here. One way is to go like that. All right? It's a bridge. Let's look at the bridge. What I'm doing is I'm exploding his weight onto his head. And when I do that, he's balled up. When I do that, he becomes weightless for me. All right? Now, the proper grip is this, by the way, if I'm going to do this. It's high up in his armpit, and I'm using this to lift as a bridge, and then I just turn. And then the same thing happens. Right? If I start trying to scoot away from him, don't let me make the space. That's another way the Gracies teach, where what happens is you trick him. He wants to be heavy on your chest. So you start doing these little, and he starts chasing you. He's actually pushing into you. And you stop and you just go that way. So if we look at it again, and again, I'm right here. We're here. If we go back to the first one where I'm able to frame, and I go here, and it comes apart, and we're here. So this one happened, but he's protecting his neck. He has a thick neck, or I don't know. I have an option here. I can hold this arm, I can come up to my elbow, make sure this foot's here, just take the arm bar right there. For right here, and I don't want to take that arm bar, I can come up to this elbow, and then I can reach and gather this one. And now, even right now, he can go ham. There's nothing he can do right now. I put my chest on his chest, and I'm blocking his far arm. It's a very methodical way of getting up. I take this leg and I post it way back. Then I circle this one around. Side control. If we're here, right? Say we're here, and I get to here. What I could do is, I can flip them over like this, right into twister, right? So,